Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got another podcasty type video to bring you today, brought to you by the fact that, oh my word, the previous episode we did 1 week ago, the last podcast, is, I think, my most commented on video ever. It's close, it's not actually quite there. I have a settings video that has like 22k views, but that last week's, considering it was only 3k views, much smaller than the settings, 100 comments on that one is absurd. I'm a smaller channel and I like to try to respond to as many of you as I can, but as the channel's kind of growing bigger and bigger, I've been less and less able to get to the comments. So I think today we're going to try to spend the back half of this episode going through some of those. There hasn't been too much going on with the game itself, so we'll use these podcasts. I think we'll make this kind of well-rounded if we do turn this into a series, which it looks like you all want that. And if you do, please continue hitting the like button. Please continue leaving all those comments. It definitely helps encourage me to bring you these kinds of videos where we're just kind of talking about the game rather than providing any gameplay. But yeah, there's not been too much adjustment with the game. We'll talk a little bit about the promo, the SBCs, the evolutions that have come out. I think this is a good space to do that. We'll leave that pretty short, maybe like 5-10 minutes or so of the episode, not make it too long. If you're in my Discord, which the link is in the description, you can get a lot of my thoughts on kind of the evos and stuff I'm looking at during the week there, so feel free to join that. But there's not been too much adjustment with the gameplay. There's been a slight one. They just did a small patch where it's just, we'll talk about this, but it's one of the patches they didn't actually give any patch notes for. But yeah, beyond that, I think, again, a lot of the rest of the episode will be, since we haven't had too much going on in the games, on the game itself, I think going through the comments will help with that. So let's start with the promo just a little bit. I'm recording this on Saturday night, so we've had 2 days of the FC Pro promo out. Are any of those cards interesting to me? Not massively, unfortunately. I wanted to be excited about it. I kind of like the idea of these ones that have future upgrade potential. And of course some of these cards do, but I don't really have any that I've got my eye on themselves. Let me get the page pulled up here. Let's just go real quickly through the cards that I've got my eye on. So Klosterman, the first center back we've gotten this year that's Quick Step Plus. Definitely an exciting one there. Not my favorite body type. He's 6'2", average tall, RB Leipzig, German, Bundesliga, all that. Intercept base, slide tackle base, block, and aerial. So no jockey, no anticipate, but he does have quick step. Could be fun with potential evos. Definitely a card to keep your eye on. 300k at the moment. Fabian Ruiz looks decent. He's tall and lean, which of the taller players is the best body type for that still. Tiki Taka Plus is great. I actually used him for a little bit. I went ahead and bought him. He's very usable. He's good on the ball. I like him. I don't like any of the center mid roles that aren't playmaker. So as it is, he's deep lying playmaker plus and box to box plus. If you like those roles, definitely give Fabian Ruiz a pickup. Base press, Tiki plus, first touch, some good stuff there. But again, myself, I just want playmaker plus. So he did end up getting sold for me. Genie Wijnaldum's an interesting one. He does have a unique body type. It's an okay one. It's kind of mid-tier. It's not perfect, but it's very, very usable. Incisive plus, press base, first touch base, but then precision and precision header, aerial fortress, which aren't that usable. The card's very low rated. So 1-2 maybe kind of, the pro is Emre Yilmaz, so it's a big name there. Probably one to put in your club. Maybe potential Evo chains, maybe he will get some upgrades that'll make him a little more interesting. He is playmaker plus. No, he's not. He's CM box to box, that's right. And his stamina is a little bit low for CM at 80. So one that's going to need some upgrades, but could be fun in the future. Maybe just put a bid on one, put one in your club, leave him be and see what happens there. Is there anybody else I was looking at? Real quick, let's see. I mean, El Shaarawy a little bit. Finesse base, inventive base, trickster base. Oh, he's only cam though. He single rolls out wide. He's cam Shadow Striker plus. Tech plus is great. He's low stamina though. El Shaarawy is somebody who's been fun in the past, but I think he's lacking some things just enough. Gilmore has a great body type. Intercept, Tiki Taka, incisive. He's 37k. Again, another one to maybe just put in your club and see what the upgrades get. And one more. I think Fabio Vieira is lean, medium, explosive, press base, Tiki base, incisive base. So Portuguese from the Bundesliga, Hanover, could be... wait, that is Bundesliga, right? Do. Oh, my Bundesliga knowledge is just not there right now. Where's the, what do you mean on loan? Oh, he's on loan from Arsenal, that's right. But yeah, they're in the Bundesliga. I forgot if they were Bundes or Bundesliga 2 this year. Anyway, again, another card to maybe just put in your club. But beyond that, anything else from this promo, not too interesting. What's the Evo called? Something de Estrella? Estrella de Montecada gives low driven plus for the playstyle. And false 9++. I'm thinking I'm putting that on Jadon Sancho. 5-star skills. Jadon Sancho's got a great body type. I'm a Dortmund fan, so he's got some sentimental value there. There's not a lot of cards that come out of that Evo with 5-star, so that's my main encouragement there. I'm putting Captain's Grit on him, so it'll be Enforcer and Press. And then I think the Evo itself gives low driven plus, Tech, and Tiki. So some very, very usable playstyles there. Definitely take a look at Jadon Sancho into that one if you like. And we got a card today named Press. Kristen Press plays in the NWSL, short and lean, press base, trickster base, first touch base, tech base, and finesse plus. Her balance is low, it's at 70, but she is left mid and left wing, inside forward plus plus. So that's a card I plan on picking up. I don't have any thoughts on her yet. I didn't use her last year, and the balance is low. But the rest of the card is maybe intriguing enough to replace Grealish finally, so we might look to put her in the team just to see. Because the rest of her dribbling stats are higher than Grealish's, so kind of depends on how she ends up feeling in game with all that. There's a debate of like, would I rather press proven plus but -3 dribbling, or press base but +3 dribbling, so that's always something you can consider. But we'll give her a try, but I guess I'll have to leave my thoughts on her for, that'll be next weekend. But yeah, that's all I've got for the promo stuff we've had. Do I watch any of the FC Pro event? No. Maybe I should during the week, so we can talk about that a little bit more next week. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on that. I know some people have asked, like, can I review pro gameplay at some point? That could also be something maybe we do. If we've got like an off day on stream, just look at some pro gameplay. Unfortunately, it's terrible this year. I hear it's, all player locks and 4-5-1s and all that. So I don't know if it's really worth watching, but again, let me know if you're interested. Beyond that, okay, I think we're moving from content into, away from content and into the slight patch they gave, which just, for the patch notes for that one, just said, like, including technical fixes and bug fixes and optimizations. It's something like that. So they told us absolutely nothing about what that means, what that whole patch entails. The game has felt better after, so it looks like whatever optimizations they did worked. Maybe it's kind of a counter to the previous patch they did, which seemed to really impact the dribbling, give some terrible animations. I felt like the normally inconsistent gameplay is kind of there, or it's not. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's terrible, and it kind of depends on what time of day you log on for. It doesn't always, but it sometimes does. It felt like it was horrible gameplay, just like the worst inconsistency, the slowest it's ever been since the patch before that one. Like, they fully broke something with the game, but the optimizations and all that seemed to improve that, so I'm not having the heavy gameplay. I do still feel like the previous patch ruined some of the game with just the animations for dribbling, and the attacking AI just feels so terrible. The AI has been so bad, I've actually moved fully away from the 4-3-2, and we've gone to a 4-1-4-1, because it just seems like the left mid and the right mid are better programmed than the left wing and right wing, despite how much I've tried to make the 4-3-3 work for me, right? It's finally just, I've had to admit, nope, it's not working for me. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We've gotten the 4-1-4-1 to work okay. It's not what I want. It's never going to be what I want, never ever, but just to kind of get through the game for now, and hopefully they bring us another patch in the future that improves things. That's about all I've got. So again, the responsiveness has been improved. The rest of the game has not. The AI is still bad, and the animations with dribbling just seem worse, or the game, maybe the pitch feels narrower or something like that. Or just dribbling in general just takes a little bit longer to turn. To kind of explain in depth what I'm going through, so I'll put my controller on the camera here so you can see. Responsiveness is like, do they start performing the action as soon as I move the left stick, or does it have a little bit of a delay there? I feel like that was improved. So the actual like time it takes from performing an action on the controller to it looking like it starts the animation on screen has improved since that weekday patch. There was just like the optimizations, they, just that generic message. That feels better. Unfortunately, what does not feel better is the time it takes for them to complete that action. Does that make sense? So the input lag's gone, but the dribbling is so bad. That's the best way I've got to describe it. It's really unfortunate, and I hope they buff dribbling. And we're going to talk about what they need to buff and nerf. I think that'll be a good thing to move into next. But for me, there's so much in this game that's just super frustrating. And we're getting into it now. Okay, so let's see. For me, a major problem that EA has had for the past 10 years of the game we've had has been they have this tendency to nerf things without buffing anything else. I am somebody who would rather have things get buffed than have things get nerfed. For me, it's the frustration is that something's really powerful in the game, and everybody does that thing, and you know what they're going to do. You know they're going to do every single time, and you try to defend it, and it's still the only thing they do, and you successfully defend it, and it's still the only thing they do, and it doesn't work for them the whole match, and it's still the only thing they do, and then it works a couple times for them, right? It's like, no, but you can't just do the same thing over and over and over. We've got to have other options. They tend to give us like 3 things we can do. I think maybe it was last year where we had like sprint down the wing, get to the touchline, cut back. That was like thing 1. We had sprint down the wing, cut back at the top of the box. That was thing 2. And we had like long shot Trivellas was thing 3, right? So we had like 3 different methods of attack, and they took away the touchline. The touchline, like getting all the way to the end line, and instead of giving out a goal kick, you just cut back and you kind of put the ball across, basically right in front of the goalkeeper, and go from there, right? Like we had that, and it felt like that got nerfed. And so we went from having 3 things we could do on offense, and like I tried all my other things, of course, because I'm me, but everybody else, when you're playing the meta, those are the main things, right? We had those 3 things, and they took away the touchline, and they remained, like, we had 2 things. And then they slightly nerfed Trivellas, and then we had like a thing and a half to do on offense, which means every single game was just the same cutback, and the same cutback, and the same cutback. And like this year, we had pretty strong dribbling. We had, like, there's no long shots this year, but we had pretty strong dribbling. We had kickoffs and corners. We had, and again, some of these things needed nerfed. We had pretty effective ways to attack against the AI because the jockeying was poor. And the jockeying being poor also helped the attacking AI be stronger, I think. I think with jockeying being stronger, it's also harder to make, like, people just say dribbling's harder now. I think the passing is also harder. It's like the players that are AI controlled, like the rest of your defense, is also jockeying better to get in those passing lanes, if that makes sense. But we had all, excuse me, we had all those things we could do. And we also had, what else was powerful this year? Like the through balls and the counterattacks and just the effectiveness of passing and all that. And the openness of the game. And so there were a couple different things you could do. You could score your dribbles, you could score like 3 different passing things. And we had like 2 strong shooting types in the box. It felt like finesses and low drivens were both viable. Whereas now finesses are less viable because you don't get as much time in the box and you just need a low driven because they come off the foot quicker. But we had multiple things to do. And then the responsiveness is gone, which maybe I want to say I have heard EA might change how they allocate servers throughout the year, and I wonder if that could be part of it. So what that means is, like, say you're EA and there's not many people playing in November, but there's going to be an influx of people come December, end of December, or January. Part of that's for Team of the Year with people coming back. Part of that's for people just getting the game for Christmas. You know, if you're under 18, you don't really have your own budget for buying games, and you got to wait for your family to get it, and they're like, oh, we'll get it for you on sale for Christmas, and you're like, okay. But I'm starting Ultimate Team like 3 months behind, but okay, I get the game eventually. Like all those kids, right? And everybody else buying the game during like the holiday season, when you get maybe more time to play, all of that stuff, right? Like, EA doesn't need the servers to be phenomenal for the players that are already probably going to be playing the game anyway. Like, I think from their perspective, yeah, they've had a lot of people go to Arc Raiders or go to the finals or go to Battlefield or Call of Duty or whatever else is out right now. We've had a lot of people kind of migrate away. But of them, like, whether or not the game was good, those people were probably already going to migrate, you know? Like, it could have been a great game, and they were already going to lose some of their population from the start of the year, right? So, I think for them, it's like, no matter what, let's have some great servers for the beginning of the year. For when everybody comes on, and we'll make the game look really good, and we'll get the reviews, try to get them as high as we can. And then people start moving away to other games, to whatever. And then they decide, okay, we don't have as many people on the game anymore. We don't need as many servers. And whether or not they allocate those servers over to whatever other games they own, whatever other games are coming out, or whether or not those servers are rented, you know, not EA owned, but by some other company. And then, you know, they only buy like a lease for the servers for 3 months or 2 months or whatever. And then the servers go away. And so now we've just got less of them. I don't know this for a fact. This is me speculating. I've heard this from some other people that it's how some other companies operate. I don't think we have it confirmed that this is how EA does it. So we're not positive, but it's worth kind of mentioning. I do wonder if just the responsiveness, like, yeah, it could be patch related because we've had 18 patches since the start of the year, and the quality of the gameplay itself has definitely gone down and down and down. And it could be just like EA's spaghetti code on top of like patch on top of patch on top of patch, just messing with the responsiveness. But I do wonder if it's, I don't want to quite call this insidious. I feel like it's insidious myself just because we don't know, and I wish EA would tell us, but it doesn't benefit them to tell us, so why would they? They don't have to. You know, to have like all the servers disappear and just wonder if that could be the reason, potentially, for the fact that the responsiveness has been terrible. It could be patches, it could be that. Whatever it is, we've got inconsistent gameplay, and that's always going to make the game terrible. And, you know, why even bother hopping on the game at like content time? Just hop on the game at midnight and you'll probably get some better results if you try to play genuine football. So, all that's really annoying. But it is speculative. I just kind of wanted to put that out there. It's worth thinking on. I wish we had more info on this stuff. Just overall, like, in literally every regard, because there's so many things about this game. Like, we don't know about the server health. We can't get, like, confirmation on what servers you play on. As far as I know, I don't know of any way to, like, look up that stuff, right? Or to look at the actual match itself and find out the server health or the server location as you play one. What else? There's so many things about the stats. Like, we don't fully know why the body types work the way they do. We don't fully know, like... We've heard every once in a while that, you know, long shots start 20 yards out, and if it's, like, 19 yards or closer, then the long shot stat means literally nothing. But at 20 yards out, it starts meaning something, and then at 30 yards out, the finishing stat stops meaning anything. But does that mean, like, at 21 yards, is it 10% long shots and 90% finishing? Like, it'd be nice to know all the... Because there's all of that this year, right? Like, how much does your balance... Not this year, every single year. How much does your balance impact your ability to do stand tackles when you're off balance? How much does composure and reactions impact all of that? Supposedly, reactions impact finesse shots, which I heard once and have never heard again, but, like, I heard at one point, the only stats that impact finesse shots are finishing and reactions, which, like, then what does the curve stat do? And also that literally can't be true because, you know, that got leaked from some EA dev or something, but obviously shot power has to impact somehow. And also balance should impact somehow. If you're off balance, then, you know, that's not going to be that great of a shot. Curve has to matter. Composure probably matters depending on how close. I definitely feel composure matters. I can tell when I've got a low composure player there. All of that stuff. It's like, I wish we had the actual in-depth. Now, stamina is a big one, being like the only stat you can't increase by chem style. Obviously, stamina is an actually important one that we just don't know the ins and outs of how it works, right? So there's all this stuff. I wish we could just know, and we'll never know, and that bothers me. But anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. We were talking about kind of how EA handles patches, right? Okay, so we're going to get back to that. So I'm trying to think about this from other games. It's a little bit... I've got a bad memory. I just do. I wish I could recall some of the previous games a little bit better, but I feel like every year we've had this. I think 24, we had, like, some decent passing, some decent dribbling, and then it was a crossing and trivela meta, and people thought the dribbling was too powerful, and so they take the dribbling away. And so we go from having, like, 4 things you can do on offense to just having the other 3, and they just remove things. This game should be just you can attack whichever it needs to be. It has to be. You can attack whatever way you want. Get up the pitch. If you want to cross, you can cross. It should be like the problem we've had for me is there's always a meta and it's just too strong, and it's also the only thing. There's always like, do your long shot Travellas, do your through balls, your counterattacks, your over the tops, your first time over the tops, like that kind of stuff, where it's like 80% effective and everything else in the game is like 10% effective. I'd rather everything be like 70 or 60% effective. Because what this game should be, what actual skill-based stuff should be, is taking a look at the pitch, is scanning around and going, okay, I've got, like, this is what I see on the actual field. These are all the things I can think of how to attack here, and then from all those, I'm going to select the best one. Because this year, you never have to select. There's no, okay, I've got a cross to do here. There's no, okay, I'm going to take a long shot. There's no, like, there's basically no dribbling. I can get it to work, but if you're, like, I play this game almost every single day, and I have played this game a lot for, like, 13 years. If you're not like me, you can't get dribbling to work. You can't memorize the amount of skill moves I do, and, you know, I'm not even trying to toot my own horn. Like, you probably shouldn't play this game as much as I do, right? But I'm a content creator. It's a little bit different. I've got all these, like, I've got years of experience in this game and all that stuff, right? And if you don't, then you can't go on the pitch and, like, replicate what I'm doing. It's really, really tough. Because what I have to do is so hyper-specific, and there's a reason. I feel bad for sometimes, like, you come into my chat, some of you folks will come in and be like, oh, how's this card? And I'm like, wrong body type, I don't care. Which is such a negligent answer. I want to be like, and the real thing is, if it makes you have fun, just do that. You know, if you're a fan of that team or that player in real life and it just makes you enjoy the game more, then just do that. But I'm like, if you try to play anything like me, I can't recommend that card, which I hate. And it's just so hyper-specific, but, you know, unless you have my playstyle and my ability to be on the game all the time and learn everything, and my specific team that is hyper-specific and selected exclusively for body types, then playstyles, then in-game stats, and also roles you've got to keep in mind, and also, you know, chemistry, all of that. Like, they make this game so hard to get the things you need. And then, of course, you get up the pitch. This is the thing about playstyles. I'm not going to talk about this too much, because I think I covered it a little last week, and we can cover this in the future, too. But playstyles are so limiting. If you have a dribbling playstyle on somebody, you dribble with them. If you have a passing one, you pass with them. I hate getting up the pitch and having the decision made for me, because it's not only made for you on what's powerful this year. Okay, you're always going to do the same cutback. You're always going to use Incisive or Tiki Plus. But if you have those playstyles, I'm going to use the passing one, even if it's a good situation for dribbling, because I don't have the dribbling plus, I have the passing plus. So it makes the decision for you. I hate getting up the pitch and going like, okay, but I see this variety of options, but none of them are strong this year, so I'll just look to do the strongest. And also, I can't do any of the others until way later in the year when I actually get cards that are Tiki Plus and Tech Plus and, I don't know, Enforcer Plus or whatever, like literally any other playstyle you can imagine. Because you know, you get up the pitch and you just have one right now. No matter who you've got up top, you just have the one, and so you're gonna look to do the same thing every single time. It makes the game so dull. It's like we've got to wait till March to have any fun. But anyway, so the game's limiting on like the cards you can put on the pitch and the things they're able to do with the playstyles, and what's actually effective in the game. We've never been this limited, and I know this game's always been about limitations. I've always been susceptible to people who play the ball in the air because I use a team that's almost all, like I have one tall center back. One of my center backs right now is 6'4", and then Busquets is 6'1", and my right back Cambiaso is 6 foot, and then my next tallest I think is Di Maria at 5'11", and the rest of my team, yeah, Grealish is 5'10", 5'11" maybe. Van de Dok's 5'3", Danny Diaz is 5'5", Mariona's 5'8", Jordi Alba's 5'7". Like, I've always been susceptible to corners and all that. But I'll sacrifice, okay, maybe I'll concede something that's pretty annoying every once in a while for just the increased in responsiveness. I've always made that swap. So it's always been a game about sacrifice, about, you know, putting cards on the pitch that are going to limit you in certain ways, but allow you to play the way you want in others. But now, instead of, you know, actually being able to play the game in multiple ways, you can only ever do one thing with any card at any given time, just about, right? Obviously, having skill moves improves that a little bit and all that, right? Like, tech base is okay if you don't have Tech Plus. A couple of the playstyle bases are okay. But when you get up against the 4-5-1s that's in that low block and you're attacking against 9 players, if you don't have the PS Plus, it's not going to be strong enough to get you through. But anyway, the point of all this was to kind of consider, right? Like, I'm really trying to think. Like 19, every single year you can think of, we had a thing. But if you think back on those years, did you do that thing because it was effective? Or did you do that thing because there was nothing else on the game to do? I don't remember 13 well, but I remember 14 was a crossing meta. Lots of like 4-3-3-4s and, you know, get a Lewandowski, get a... I don't know if Benzema was good enough back then to be in a lot of people's teams. He might have been, but, you know, get somebody tall up top. And then you're getting your pacey winger, and the crosses were super effective. And also, you could do like 40-yard long shots, 40-yard finesses. You get your Marco Reus, you get maybe Di Natale, I think back then might have been pretty compatible with that. And I miss some of the old long shots. Like, it was fun in a non-competitive game. Obviously, long shots for a game that's as competitive as this one is a little bit fraught. But I do miss Hernandez and like 14, Brazilian center mid from Inter Milan, who was just super fun there. There was a Colombian, Freddie Guarin was also like so great at long shots. But anyway, the point of this was finesses. You get your Marco Reus, you get maybe El Shaarawy. I don't think that was his year. I can't recall the cards because it's been so long, but you get the idea, right? Like, we had crosses and we had long finesses, and everybody did them. But also, if you go up the pitch, it was a more open game. You could do your through balls, you could do multiple things. But those were the main things, and if you didn't do them, it was kind of a hindrance to your attack, because it was always just going to be stronger to do one of them anyway. And you can go through that with literally every year. Like, 15 was body feints, ball rolls, step overs a little bit, but mostly dragbacks. So dragbacks and body feints that year were absurd. I know, they were too good. That was my favorite year. I'm a 15 fan. Because that felt super fun for me with being the dribbler, but they realistically were too strong. Yeah, 15 was that year. 16 was... I feel like not cancels. I feel like McGeady spins. We didn't have cancels until like 17 or something. McGeady spins and ball roll scoops maybe, or Elasticos that year were like super strong. I forget 18. I can't recall. 19 was low. No, 18 was low driven. 19 was flick up volleys. So tornado flicks or Balassi flicks or whatever's into just volleying a cross in or volleying a shot at the edge of the box. Were just ridiculous that year. Worst meta we've pretty much ever had, aside maybe from this year. Honestly, maybe I would rather play 19 right now than 26. That's so sad to say. That could be, you know, just recency bias, though. My brain has such a blank for 21, like 20 through 23, really. I know 24 was crossing. I loved Trickster that year. I could get dribbling to work in 24 unlike any other year. That was the best year for dribbling ever if you knew how to use Trickster Plus, which nobody did. So it wasn't clear, but it was the best year for dribbling for me. 25, we had, you know, pacey, 4-2-1-3. And every year we've had a formation as well. It's been the 4-2-3-1, or it's been the 4-3-2-1, or it's been the 4-2-1-3 last year. This year's the 4-5-1. All that stuff. We've always had something. And what I despise is some of those years we actually did have multiple things. Again, it's hard to recall now, but some of the years we did have multiple. And the community complains about one, and they take it away, and EA give us nothing. EA gave us literally, legitimately nothing in its place. So we go from having a year where you can do a couple things every single year without fail, in my opinion, without fail. We start with a year that have a couple things, people complain, they take something away, and that's the game we're stuck with for the rest of the year. We're not given anything else. It's absurd to me. Whereas all I want, like, yes, the 4-5-1 is more powerful, but it's too powerful. Through balls are too powerful. Cutbacks are too powerful. I would rather keep those and also add dribbling or crossing, even though I'm not a crosser. I'd rather have it added just so I can play somebody different for once. And also so I can go, you know what, every once in a while, maybe a cross is worth it. Just so I can, like, communicate to the opponent, hey, you have to guard this too. Because if I'm only dribbling, I said this in the last video, if I only ever dribble, you know, the opponent doesn't have to guard the cross, but maybe I can use that to my advantage. And then one time, oh, I do something different. They're not custom, they're not attuned to it, they're not ready, and they just get completely caught off by surprise by it. It's like, I'd rather be able to make that decision. So this year, 100,000 times over, like I will say this every single time, I would rather have things added than things taken away. I would rather we get stuck with a 4-5-1 all year, and people can play like this if they want. But also, if you're trying to play some other style of football, have your thing be buffed. I would rather things get buffed than things taken away. Because if they take away through balls, if they take away counters, if they take away the center mid sprinting forward, if they take away, the ability to do L1 runs, if they take away low drivens, and then like Tiki plus, right? If they take any of those away, this game will legitimately be 0-0. And I'm not even kidding you. Like, people will just do 4-5-1, 0-0. We'll get pens like every other game. It would be the most, like, frustrating, boring, like, defensively stodgy, literally nothing to do to counter the defense game ever. But I'd rather them code in, okay, the AI is actually able to attack against the 4-5-1. They code a different couple of runs where, like, it pulls the defense apart. Or they code, like, the defense to follow you a little bit more. So yeah, you defend in 9, but the AI pulls itself out of position every once in a while because your team makes a run and then they get distracted by that, and then all of a sudden we've got like this other thing to do, right? Like, but no, I'm almost scared this year because they've done it already. We had responsiveness with the left stick. People complained about fidget spinning. It got taken away, and we don't know if that's because Jockey was buffed or because the responsiveness is gone, because the servers are gone, or because they've patched too much, or whatever. We don't know for sure. But we had fidget spinning. It's almost certainly gone now. We had tech, and they tried to take it away, and they brought it back, but nobody's used it like it's been used since. And yeah, it needed nerfed because it was spammable. The problem with tech wasn't that tech was strong. The problem with tech wasn't that tech was strong at all. It was that you could spam the button. You could just tap R1 over and over and over, and it glitched how it worked. It like gave you too much speed on startup, almost like last year's L1 sprint boost. That was the problem with tech, was it was just like glitchable or spammable or abusable. The problem wasn't at all that it was like too strong when you actually held the button. I think it was fine. But they took away the spamming it. But have you noticed that nobody uses it since? Literally, like I have not come up against it almost at all. I don't know, that could also be defensively stodginess. That could just be, I don't even try to play more defensive at all. I have not like adjusted my tactics to be more defensive in response to the 4-5-1 meta. I try to be as attacking as ever, and I feel like my team drops back more. I feel like it's harder for my opponents to score. I feel like I have 9 players at the top of the box, even though I try not to, right? Like, so it could be like, maybe that's why tech doesn't work so well as well. But anyway, I'm really scared this year that we're going to get to that point as well, where EA just, instead of granting us anything else to do, we're going to be stuck with nothing else to do. Like, if they take away cutbacks, then it's just counters. And if you fail your counter, people will start, like, passing the ball back to their goalkeeper to create a fake counter to, like, just open up space. Like, people will start doing that, because if that's the only thing that works, then, you get the ball up the pitch, you fail to get your offense in time, there will be nothing else. It's just... man, this is such a game. I don't even feel like it's hard. And I wonder if this is what EA wants, because if Tiki's strong, then they can give Tiki to certain cards and then make them pricey, and then they get to control the market really well. Because if Tiki's strong, people are going to get Tiki that don't deserve it. They're going to give Tiki to Mbappe, or they're going to give Tiki to Salah or something, whereas like you think those cards, no, it's more like a quick step, a finesse, whatever, low driven, any of those playstyles, right? Like, I don't think of them as passers, but they're going to give the team of the year cards whatever playstyle is meta at the time. You know it, right? Like, it's for sure going to happen. And so I wonder if just like having only a couple things work in the game is just a way for them to control the market, to make cards pricey, to make things, fall exactly in the line of pack probability chances, or, make people buy packs when they want, or whatever it is. Maybe it's something like that. Or maybe it's just easier to control a meta when it's only a certain couple things, and then they don't have to worry about balancing everything else. It's like, okay, nothing else matters here. I only have to worry about patching the one thing for the rest of the year, and we'll just focus on making the other game. I do wonder, I don't know how this works for EA, but I do wonder, like, obviously they start production on FC27 at some point, and so they have to leave part of their team behind to, you know, continue patching FC26 and all that. But then they port part of their team over to making 27 and, you know, creating the new game. And I don't know for sure how that works, so I wonder if there would be a part for this year where we just start getting less and less patches, and I'm not positive if that's, you know, how that goes. But I'm worried. I'm worried about the health of this game. And it bugs me, because the things to fix this game are cards that I can put on the pitch that are a little bit more fun, a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more... Because they give tiki-taka a couple times, they give incisive a couple times. We never get press. Like, there's like 3 press plus cards in the game, right? They give finesse plus, they give low driven plus. They barely give pinged this year. They barely give like first touch. If you're a fan of that one, I'm not, but if you are... But all that stuff, right? It's like, oh man. It shouldn't be hard to give us a game where we can do multiple things. And that's all I want. That's literally all I ever ask for. I want to be able to go up the pitch, and I feel good when I select things to do. When I see the stimuli on the field and I go, this is how I should respond to it. That's when I feel good. And it just, we haven't had that for so long, it feels. And this one, we had it. If you saw my videos through the week, I posted one with like the angry emoji over my face, and I posted one with the crying emoji over my face, and I said it was from anger to apathy. I've never gone so quickly with a game from feeling like, oh, this could be the year, this could be a year, and you saw it with my content. I was doing tutorials like every week, like 2 of them. I was doing, you know, analysis videos. I was doing tactics reviews on like how to use my formation. I was doing all these things, right? But no, I've stopped uploading that stuff because I can't imagine what to say about this game. All I have is what everybody else has, and I just try to add like a McGeady cancel in there, whereas most of my opponents don't, and that's all I've got that differentiates me. I feel like I'm doing the same counterattacks that everyone else is now, and I don't want to put tutorials out on that, but I miss making the videos I was. And so that anger to apathy thing is just... What bothers me this year is we had it, and it feels like it got taken away. It feels like they stripped it, and I wonder if that's intentional. I just want to talk to EA and go like, hey, we had something beautiful that could have been... We had something okay. We had a good baseline that could have turned into the best FIFA. It wasn't... It was one of the better starts to a FIFA or an FC that we've ever had. I don't think it was the best start, but it was perfectly fine for like a fundamental baseline. Yeah, you've made this game for 20 years, so the first edition should probably be better than like a beta tester version for all of us to play. So it was a little bit annoying. But considering the difficulties you've had, EA, I absolutely was accepting the start of FC26. I was okay with that. You fix the hackers, and then you fix just a couple of the things, and you do small tweaks instead of these big ones we've had, where now the game's a nothing game. You do some small tweaks that allows it to be skill-based. And that would have been, I'd have been happy. But instead, it feels like we had that, and it got taken away. It got taken away from me. It's like a child having their toy taken, right? I'm angry about it. And then I've stopped being angry. I just, like, if you've come into my streams the past couple of days, I'm just like, oh, that's a terrible goal. I can't believe I conceded that. Like, it's the passion's gone. Whereas before I was like, that's really frustrating, but I want the game to be better. And now I'm like, I don't know if I believe the game can be better. Or maybe this is the game they want to put out. I don't know anymore. Okay. I'm going to take a breath. I think that's enough on that for now. Get a little bit passionate there, I suppose. A little. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt this with one little... what do I call this? One little bit of gameplay. I'm just doing evos offline. Don't mind the controller. I'm doing evos offline, and kind of while I record this, just because there's so many evo games that I'm just kind of like AFKing in squad battles while I'm doing this podcast, just so I've got like time to do multiple things. Because it's like 5. I've got like 3 evos I want to put on each player, and each one's like 5 games each. It's like 15 games for this stuff, you know. Anyway, I'm doing this little evo on Jaden, and he might go into the, like I think I mentioned already, the Estrella Day, whatever it was called. So I've got press base on him so far, but there we go. The rest of the evo's not been completed, though his dribbling won't go up at all from here. But tell me this isn't the silkiest, like, couple touches you've ever seen. This is absurd. This is just left stick. I don't know what it is about this, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, and like it's just touch after touch. Super accurate. Again, this is just like semi-pro offline, so it's not that impressive, but that's what I mean about the body types. That's why I use the cards that I do, right? Okay, anyway, so I think I've rambled on enough about my own stuff. I did promise, since unfortunately, like I said, I like responding to comments. I appreciate that so many of you like my opinion, that you kind of gravitate to that sort of stuff with me, and I like to be, you know, open and honest about this stuff too. So like I like giving my opinion. I like, you know, I'm not trying to hide like body types or anything. Everything I do on the pitch has been like put in a video for me or anything, you know. It's like I'll talk about any of the stuff openly. So I appreciate that all of you are like wanting that from me. That said, if I responded to 100 of you, I would be writing like a college like thesis on just how bad the game was this past week, right? So I don't quite have that amount of free time, unfortunately, but let me think. So we're going to go through a couple of the comments here. Let's start with, I'm just kind of going like top to bottom from what YouTube's showing me. This is in no conceivable order as far as I can tell, but first one I've got here is from Brutta, who says, you're getting 8 or 9 wins in Weekend League, now get 4 wins, and you're losing to people you can clearly see are horrible. A lot of comments replied here too on there's kind of changes in the gameplay, either bounces or, you know, just the responsiveness in general. Lots of people echoing this. It almost feels, I don't know, I don't quite want to put it this heavily, but it almost feels like the physics are a little different. I agree with it. I didn't talk about this much, but it's like the responsiveness and the animations feel different, but also the bounces and the interceptions, like the offensive ones feel different, but also interceptions feel different. Like the animations on defense feel different too. And then I feel like I've gotten way more times where like I should be getting an interception and it just bounces off me and falls back to them. All that stuff. So there's been a lot of, you know, oddities with all that, right? I haven't experienced everything people in the chat are saying. There's been some people going like they feel like there's nonsense around, one of the replies to this one is nonsense around like 45th minute, 90th minute, 120th minute, like the, you want to say DDA or scripting at certain times of the match. And that's not something I've experienced myself. But it's one of the things that sucks about this game is we'll never know about. I'm not a believer in DDA or scripting or any of that. I don't want to think about it because it's not competitively helpful. So don't take this as like, I know for a fact it doesn't exist. I've played this game for so long, like any of that stuff, I could feel one way or the other about. I don't really care. But as somebody who tries to be competitive, it's hard to like encourage myself to continue being competitive if I can always just say, oh, the game's against me, so what's the point in trying, you know? That's why, but like, I don't believe in that stuff, but there's been a lot of echoing of that, of just, it feels like there's some adjustments to the game and like some pretty serious ways in that regard. I've got an FPL Bailey. The gameplay at the start was so good that you messaged somebody after losing 2-0. GG, good defending. It's been years since you messaged somebody, and that speaks to how good the game was at the start, even though you got shut out. I kind of felt that way. Unfortunately, this game's so toxic, and it's one of the things EA would have to fix to ever make this game better, but this community's so toxic, right? Like, and it's always like, I got mine, you don't get yours. Like, oh, people will open like an icon pack and then move into, this is completely tangent, but people will open like an icon pack and then watch a streamer open 15 other people's and then go, I hope nobody else got anything as good as I did out of those. It's a really silly community we've got here, but of course, any advantage for anybody else is a disadvantage for you. I don't know how EA would fix all of that, but anyway, at the start of the year, like, I felt like it could have been a little bit more positive than it has been, and now it's just, if you do get a message, it's the most toxic thing ever. I feel like the start of the year had some intrigue, and that's as positive as I think we're going to be able to put that, but for me, it was like, people go, oh, how did you do that, or like, how'd you get so good at this game already, like at the start, and like, people would actually be curious, whereas now it's like, there's no how'd you get so good, it's just you did the same mechanics that everybody else is doing, right? Anyway, yeah, it's a shame that, like, because you could tell, like, if you came against a strong defender at the start of the year, you could definitely tell, right? Like, You know, you'd go, oh, maybe I want to learn from this guy. But nope, not anymore. Not anymore whatsoever. Anyway. I'm Mark Bauer, frequent viewer of the channel. Was way back, almost quit Weekend League yesterday. It's like defending is automatic. People just play fast counters, catch your players out of position. I love this second half of the comment. I have read this one already. We're playing versus relegation side tactics every game. Build up and breaking down defenses and not rewarding at all. Relegation side tactics. It really feels like what was... You know when Wolves a couple of years ago would just like sneak results against Man City for no reason? Like just a complete bogey team. Oh, you've got like Jimenez to target forward it on your counterattack, and then you lay it off to Adama, and Adama goes and gets 5 chances a game and scores probably 0 of them because it's Adama Traore. But the point being, like, it does feel like that. It just... Ah, man. The thing about this in real life is to defend more necessarily means attacking us harder. Like, if you defend more, then you're probably winning the ball back in a more defensive position, which means you've got to go through the opponent's entire offense to get up the field, which means the counter pressing so much easier. And when you get up the pitch, you've only got like 1 or 2 players to hold up and wait for everybody else to arrive. Of course, you might be attacking against less and less opposition players. It might be 2-on-2 versus like a 5-on-5, right? But like, to defend poorly is to have less attacking advantages overall. But to play a 4-5-1 is not, in FIFA, to get less XG, to get less chances, to have any kind of downside in that way. So, again, a big thing for me would be we need a way to have in possession and out of possession tactics again, because you can't have the defensive side of things dictate literally everything about the game. I need the offensive side to be more important. I want my offensive formation to be, you know, the one I actually line up with, the one I'm going into the game with, and then the defensive one to be either something I can customize and like drag players back from like my 4-3-3 and turn it into a 4-4-2 if you need to, or whatever. But it's so annoying to just go into every match and go, okay, he's playing a 4-5-1 because of the defense. But also, there's also attacking advantages with it, so it's so annoying. But anyway. There's a response to that. PC edition is so much better. It's wild. You feel bad for you guys. That's from GR1, we'll say. I wish I could play the console version. I have not. I know a lot of you would really like my opinion on that. I can't say to that in any regards to what's more responsive. I do feel like sometimes if I play against a console player, it does kind of seem like I've got that advantage, right? But in other games, it feels like I've got more of a disadvantage. Like the server is less in my favor, even if the responsiveness is in my favor. Or like the game somehow evening it out for both of us, so it just really doesn't matter. Like I can tell every once in a while I go into a game and I'm like, this wasn't the... Like not only is it an inconsistent gameplay issue, but also this isn't the same game I just played in the previous match. So I don't know if it's compensating in some way. It could be. Maybe that is more of a server thing, but comes through as like a responsiveness thing, of course. Anyway, can't really comment on that, but I know like there's always so many factors of this game, and I don't know what you're supposed to do about PC. That is a tough thing. Like if you look at other esports, if like I came from Rocket League, I've mentioned this before. And in Rocket League, you know, the entire pro scene is on PC. There is no pro scene on console. If you were good enough on console to get up there, you bought a PC and to play with everybody else. And FIFA's interesting in that, you know, it's always been a console game. It came to rise for the consoles in 20 whatever we want to say. 20 all of the 10s, let's say. So it's always been a console game. But the pro scene is also stuck on console, I guess maybe for that reason, which makes sense in a way, but also I do wonder if like we could watch the pros play on PC and if it would just be more enjoyable gameplay, you know. But they probably don't even test PC because they don't even want to know. If I was a pro, I wouldn't want to, you know, test one way and then move back to console and be like, oh, this is so much worse, and just have that hanging over my head every time, you know. Anyway, let's see. Somebody says, of course counters were going to dominate. It's the assisted passing. It does your head and nobody seems to pick it up. It's a core flaw of the game. This passing mechanic makes sure your 55 passing CB can laser it into your ST. I like the passing works this year. I do agree it's too not up to where you aim the cursor yourself. There should be a skill in actually like placing where the pass is. I'm going to put gameplay on the screen again. Like I say, I'm doing squad battles on the background here. Put the gameplay on the screen here, and if you've been in my streams, you've probably seen me do these. I love these. This is the precision swerve pass. Let's get it to players who have incisive. If you just do like base incisive, there's not going to be that much curve applied to it just by default, right? But if you do L2, R1, and triangle, you see the curve that comes out with the reticle there. You can see the curve they're putting on these passes. He's even got incisive base. That one went kind of direct. And if you do it without L2, if it's just R1 and triangle, then you can do it direct. Which maybe I should experiment with more, but anyway. But if you do L2, R1, triangle again, you get this nice curve to it, which is really skill-based. Like, I feel nice of... I know this mechanic that I don't think anybody has ever used against me, as far as I can tell. And it does have this advantage. It's like the AI doesn't lock onto it too well, so there's a competitive advantage to it. It also seems to be nice for your first touches, but also these passes are kind of ridiculous to watch. Like, like these are some prime KDB passes, you know? Oh, that had so much power. Anyway, that kind of stuff is nice. Like, I don't mind conceding to that because my opponent did... Like, there's that manual aspect to it where the reticle pops up on screen and then you've actually got to aim it to the proper place. And I've had some nice ones where it's like, I've weighted it perfectly, you know, where it wouldn't have worked if I just did the normal pass. Anyway, all of that to say, like, that feels really rewarding to me. But what doesn't feel rewarding is, you're right, if you just, like, press the button and the game does it for you. That's always when it's frustrating, right? Anyway, I am with you a little bit. It's tough again, because I mentioned earlier on, right? I don't want there to be less things to be able to do in this game. I don't. So I really don't want, you know, like, let's see. I don't want them to remove the assisted passing, but then leave us with a game where there's nothing else to do, you know? So the passing needs to be strong enough, but also skill-based, and it is tough to make that. I wish it was more manual passing where, like, if I pressed X, even with Tiki Plus, it's less just going to your player's foot and more going where the reticle is. And there could be a skill to, like, aiming it slightly away from your player, whereas there really isn't right now. But you're right, especially the through balls into open space are just... I don't even know if I want to say too assisted. Too manual defending doesn't work for. Does that make sense? Because if I've got a player with Intercept or Intercept Plus, and I move there and I try to stand in that lane, the assisted passing dodges the player. That's the thing. The assisted passing dodges the player I'm passing at, even if, excuse me, it dodges the player I'm manually controlling, even if my opponent actually aimed it at me. The game will solve it for them. And that's what's really annoying. It makes manual interceptions too weak, too useless. Whereas instead, we need a game where it's like, okay, I've done the skill-based thing to recognize where you're trying to go. Let me be rewarded for that. Anyway. Move on here. As a new player, this is from Gameplay 9. Excuse me, sorry, Game Plan. Gameplay 99. As a new player, the game is too inconsistent for you to actually learn how to play. Base mechanics, left stick movement, tackles, passes, player switching. Too inconsistent. You flick the left stick one direction, you get a heavy touch. You do the other player, doesn't move at all. Barely moves, not only on offense, but jockey, and this will continue on for a while, right? You try to right stick switch, but it keeps switching over them to your center back, like past the midfielder to the center back. Animations on tackles are so inconsistent. That's true. I wish there were only like 3 tackle types or something, and it's less based on having the play style and also getting the right animation and more just like you select the right tackle. I've always said we need the ability to select which foot it's done with, because it's too common where, like, I want to tackle with the player's left foot and they tackle with the right foot, and so it just fails for me. It's like, no, game, if you just did it with the other foot, it would have worked fine. We're like, you need to hold L2 for left foot tackles and R2 for right foot tackle, or whatever it is, right? Like, or circle on the right side of the face buttons for the controller. Circle is, you know, like right stand tackle, and square is left stand tackle, that kind of thing, you know. Anyway, they can go on to say, used to play eFootball, top 100 player worldwide, top 30 in NA regional leagues. You know a thing or two about football, so it's not like you're bad. Just bad at the EA's game. You're trying to improve, but it's too inconsistent. It's definitely hard, A, when you hop on every day and it feels different, and B, you hop on every day and there's a new, or you hop on every week and there's a new patch. Definitely difficult there. Especially for nonsensical things. If it's rewarding football knowledge, it's like, okay, I can make sense of this because I understand actual patterns or I know tactics in real life a little bit. But no, like, if you want to be good at this game right now and you don't have a lot of time, then it's just Google somebody else's tactic review, Google what the new meta is this week, all that stuff, right? Every game has this problem, so it's not unique to FIFA of just, you know, if you move away from COD for a week, then you come back and, oh, there's a new meta, and like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to defend that because that was never a thing before. Anyway, it is definitely a problem, unfortunately, and like I say, it just doesn't reward anything that makes sense, so you've got to learn all this weird stuff every week. Let's see. We've got an interesting one here from RSL, who says, it's criminal. All the promotion around We Hear You, only to bring out a decent game and then totally change it when people have invested both time and money into it. No other company would get away with this. All the YouTube meta videos and TikToks don't help either, so the community's also to blame. I'm very for that, and I'm also like, it's complicated also. I wish this community had any interest in... There's so much to talk about this community. I wish we had an interest in actually making something pretty. And I feel like there's so many things about it, like, I'm really tired of content creators that are putting out the same information, that are like, oh, this is how you need to play, and but also it's YouTube. If that's what people watch, then like, if this is your job, you've got to do what gets the views, you have to. What else? Also, I feel like the content people put out can be a little bit toxic. I wish we had more like co-op stuff or stuff where people work together instead of like everything feels super solitary. And I'm super solitary, but like other people are interested in co-op and stuff, but like don't actually promote it themselves. Anyway, what else? And then yeah, everybody just gravitates to what people tell you to play, and then the whole community finds out about it. Like, it would be nice if it took like 3 additional weeks for people to find this stuff, because the YouTube videos just weren't in your face about it. There's also all the leaks, which just kind of ruin everything, but there's that whole ecosystem now where people like have to do it, or, you know, it's, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, so you might as well, I suppose. And like, I hate leaks as they are. I miss when, like, it helps my coin balance a little bit because I know what's upcoming, but I hate it more than anything else because it's just like, I miss the surprise of logging in. Oh, there's actually a fun card there, instead of just knowing 3 days beforehand for everything. And then it means you've got to follow all the stuff. So like, to be a FC player right now, you've got to be able to navigate like FootBin or FootGG or something to learn the body types, to learn everything, to learn all the Evo chains, and know everything you should be looking for. And you've got to watch a bunch of YouTube content to know exactly what everybody's doing and how to do it yourself. And you've got to follow all these leakers to keep up to date so you don't go behind with your own like coin balance. Like, it's 3 different full-time jobs. It's not 3 different ones, but full-time job just keeping up with this game, I swear to you. Anyway, what else in that one? The fact that they change it so much. I wish we just had something. The thing for me is I hate going from a game that had multiple things. Like I mentioned this whole video, I hate going from a thing that had multiple things you could do this year to like only having 2 different methods of attacking every single time you try to get up the pitch. And just wonder what they were doing. Like, they looked at this game that had things you could do, and they're like, yeah, so we're going to make it so you can do less things. That's what we want as a company. It just makes you wonder, like, if the casuals complain... And again, I wonder about this, because, like, if the casuals complain about defending being too hard, and they buff defending, then you, as a casual, don't you also go up the pitch? And because defending's easier for your opponent, don't you also have a much harder time on defense now? Excuse me, don't you also have a much harder time on offense? Like, yeah, you might have been conceding a lot of goals, but really all you're trying to do is make the game lower scoring so you have more of a chance, because the less goals that go in, the more likely it is that, like, some random thing is in your benefit that, you know, changes the tide of that match, right? Is that the only thing people care about? Is, like, I have a chance to be Div 4 instead of Div 5 because the game's, like, slightly lower scoring? And, yeah, it doesn't benefit me on either side of the pitch, other than just, you know, the higher skilled players get less of a chance to blow me out of the water, and I might be able to hang in there every once in a while. Is that the only... It feels like it's the only benefit, right? Anyway, it's really annoying to take a game that they had... I feel like most of the community that I listened to that had positive things to say about the game, and like they're all gone now. The responsiveness is gone, all the dribbling is gone, the quick passing that people are doing is also gone, and the AI is gone. So what's the point? You're right, they just took it all. Great video, so happy you mentioned so many things. This is from Get More TV. Also, you think why the best card has to be 91 rated, why not 81 rated? Space for the game to grow. Let me, because I got some pushback on this one. Not everybody agrees with that. For me, it doesn't really matter. The only reason that it does matter is because this game is rewards based now. If it was the old FIFAs, I used the same team for months. It didn't really matter to me at all. And like I was just slowly, because back then you were just making like, you know, 5K here, 15, you know, 10K, 15K here, maybe 15K it was, I think, the rewards from like divisions back then when you won. Excuse me. So my coin balance was just like, you know, 15K every 2 days, and then you're slowly accruing, like I get 1 million over a month, and then there's your coin, but I'm saving up the 1 million because there's one card I want to be getting, so like I'm not changing my team at all for this whole month. And that was fine. But the expectation now is like, well, there's all these SBCs, there's all these evolutions, and I'm also opening all these packs from all these rewards that my team should be changing fairly frequently. And that's why I think the fact that the cards are so high rated makes it, there's just not space for the game to go to actually keep replacing your team. Because if the game's like this, and you want to replace your team every, like, you want to replace 3 players every week, and you start with like an 85 rated team, you will have like you would supposed to have like a full 95 rated team in like 3 months of the game. So you can't keep that progression of like continuously upgrading your players. You just can't. That only matters when the game is so rewards based. If the game was something else, or if the game somehow delayed rewards, like if Foot Champs was like, didn't give you rewards immediately, but gave you something big for like the month, like we used to have in 17, where if they only gave you the monthly reward, where like you got the icon from that, right? If the game, and I'm not saying it should be, but if the game was something like that, then having the progression be the way that it is, and having the cards be higher rated makes sense, because you're not changing your team every, like you're saving for a whole month to get your team to change, right? In those regards, yeah, I think as it is fine. But if we're supposed to have this game where they're kind of encouraging you to keep changing your team, and people log on to change their team to get the objective cards, to get the evos, to get the promos, all that, people log on to be like, I want to use these new cards, then I think they've got to give new space to grow. And that's a consequence of the game being, what's the way to put this? The game being rewards based instead of gameplay based. If it's gameplay based, I don't need to change what I'm doing in the gameplay every, couple days. I'm happy with the team I've got. Personally, that's how I play. But if the game's rewards based, then like I need the rewards to be giving me something. That's the argument there. Anyway. Yesterday was a reminder, no need to play Weekend League from Football Fun. You vote somebody, Bernal, and somebody brings out a better card for discard. That is interesting, yeah. A lot of the Evos, for me, are like putting cards in good positions to Evo them later. So like if I do that Jadon Sancho, he'll have low driven, which isn't my end game playstyle for like the ideal single playstyle plus, but is good for like a double or triple playstyle plus. So maybe Sancho would be good for now, and then like I get somebody else who's press proven plus instead of it be low driven plus, and then I swap him. But then the next time, once Sancho can get 2 PS pluses, then like, that's the thing for me. So there's a lot of management with the Evos that I don't necessarily mind. Not every Evo needs to be used now. But yeah, you're right. My main thing with the promos is I hate that the cards are either like discard at 20k or 500k, and there's not enough cards that are like 100, 200, 300, 400k. We need more Odegaards and Marionas and, what's a good example? Some of the SBC, like Di Maria and Press being like 60k to 100k are decent if they were market cards, like we need more cards like that, in my opinion. Cards to be like, I can change my team for a couple days, but it's not like I get this card and then, or I can use this card for like a week or 2 or 3 weeks maybe. But it's not like, oh, I need to be making a massive upgrade that's supposed to be in my team for two months now, right? Anyway. A lot of sentiments of genuinely never felt worse at a video game than you do now. This is from Watford Analytics. Don't have the time to play that you used to. Haven't played a ton of Rivals. Doing okay in Champs. Can't get out of Div 4 when you do play. No consistency. You've tried different formations. It all feels off. Not good enough player to compensate for the issues consistently. I feel bad for that route of like, for me it's, again, like I'm on the game every day, so I can make the tiny adjustments and I you know, can learn everything. Again, if you come back I'm trying to imagine if I only played like once a week and I had to remember everything and I had to go like, oh, today I actually have to like learn the slight new meta, but also remember last week's meta, and like I never perfectly got it down last week. And then your formation stops working because they changed something out. Like, yeah, that'd be really tough. That'd be really tough. This game must be awful if you're like a, you know, a dad who works who can only play like 1 hour, like once or twice a week because you've got to watch your kids and everything. This must be hard with this game. Just play something else in that regard. I feel. Let's see. This is a big one. I don't think I've covered. This is Daniel Turner. Use the 4-1-2 in Ternera, so tough to use since the first patch. What happened to possession tackles? They work to start off with, but now not really. Defenders feel too quick. Keep up with your pacey strikers. There's little attacking AI. Everyone's marked by the defensive AI. But yeah, the possession tackles are a big thing, and this is actually something I've definitely noticed, but I haven't really commented on myself because there's so much with this game, and it's kind of a, I don't want to say it's like super small of an, it's definitely a big issue, but it kind of goes under the wayside when everything else is such a big issue too. Yeah, I definitely feel like the start of this year when you made a tackle, the ball was more likely to either stay at your player's foot or to bounce to one of your other players. But now it's like if you make a tackle, absolutely, it's way more likely to bounce back to the opposition. Absolutely. Let's see. I think a lot of the remaining comments are the repetitiveness of the game, so everybody using the same players, Pina and all that, and the same formations. We're all tired of the same, like, the same front five of everybody. Reinders, De Jong, Pina, all that. And everybody using the same formation. I also want to point out, somebody, where was this one? I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit, but Satnik said they need the nerf counters, which can only be done by removing, oh wait. You shouldn't be losing your mind over losing the ball without scoring. I feel like it is a punishment to lose the ball, and I'm definitely scared sometimes because of how powerful counters are. I think there's so many times where it's like, oh, I've lost the ball, and then you're immediately stressed. This is a big thing for me, is the stress of this game. There's never a break. There's never a break. How do I put this? Especially going like game after game after game, if you're trying to play like 10 games in a row, or you're trying to get all your champs games done in one day, one sitting, it's really tough to play like game after game after game because it's stressful, because there's never any downtime. And what I mean is like, because when you lose the ball and the counters are the most powerful thing, you lose the ball and like you put all that effort into offense. You were focused. You were really trying to get your thing, like your attack to work. You put all that effort in, and then you lose the ball. And you've got to remain as locked in, as focused. There's no downtime. There's no way to stall the opposition. There's no like, okay, well, I took my intercept player and I stood in front of where the pass was going to go. So I get like, what I did is I gained like 3 seconds where I just slowed everything down, right? Like, ah, man. The fact that it's high paced, it's end to end is, and it's end to end without being high scoring a lot of the time. But there's just never any time for you to take a breather. I don't know, maybe some of you like that, maybe some people do somewhere. I absolutely 100% do not, because I feel like football's always a game. In real life and any other FIFA, it's like, well, you know, we lost the ball, but the ball's in the corner, and like there's 2 of my people in the corner, there's 3 of them, but like it's gonna be, I don't know, 8 seconds until the ball travels from their corner to like, you know, or until they can beat that press, until they can like, it's fine. It doesn't have to be a strong press. They can just kind of like walk around it if they're good enough, right? Like it's fine. But you try to keep them, you lose the ball in the corner. You try to keep them pinned in there for a little bit, and you know you get like 8 seconds of downtime. The ball's not in the net. You don't have to worry about scoring it yourself. The opponent doesn't have to worry about scoring it. They're just kind of like playing the game very normally in the corner and just maintaining possession. And now it's going to be, you know, a while until something dangerous can actually happen. In this game, no, it's like you're there, oh, one pass, and then it's like you get it to somebody with incisive plus, and you can just, you know, make it the most threatening play ever, like immediately. So there's never any like breathing room for this game, which again makes it hard to. It makes every individual game hard, but it also makes it if you're like game after game after game. I feel this way when I get like, I win one like 7-6, you know, like I had like a 9-8 the other day, I think. And you're just going, okay, I had this really difficult game, and then you log into the next game and it's as difficult. It's like, I'm just tired. I want a breather. I guess that's when you're supposed to go just play a draft or some kind of casual game mode, go play Rush or something. But anyway, I think that is all I've got for today. I've gotten through a good amount of the comments here, and I think there's definitely some I've missed, so I do apologize. Feel free to, again, keep your comments coming. I'll try to get to as many as I can next video. Let me know if you like this format. Maybe you start the first... If I can time these better to like an hour, I think this was gone quite a bit over. If you like maybe the first half an hour to be like 10 minutes of content, 10 minutes of patch or gameplay, 10 minutes of something else, and then 30 minutes of like responding to comments or something like that, definitely let me know. But I think we're at the end of this one here. This one's gone on long enough. But if you hadn't enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff, like I say, the first one of this hit 100 comments, and I really appreciate that. So the more you can keep that going, the more that definitely encourages me to keep this going. So anyway, I appreciate all your support lately, and hopefully the game itself improves by a little bit. We'll find out here shortly. But yeah, take it easy, everybody. Peace.